Dear Grace, back in the studio. I seem to be the only one using the studio. Told me today it's supposed to be 2 sessions a week. However, I figured out a way around the system as usual. It's 2 sessions a week if you book. But if you just walk in and they're not busy, they don't care. So, as usual, I like to make rules, but I don't like to follow them. Catch you up on a couple more things before I get into today's movie idea. I had completely forgotten about writing this. What seems to apply. And with the publicity behind the Telepathy Tapes podcast, who knows? Maybe someone might fucking notice. Day 5 of the fast, or day 4, I'm not sure. Whatever I said yesterday, I had one day. I did buy a Rockstar today though. Sugar-free. I didn't want to. I haven't the last couple of days. But I figured maybe I should get a couple of vitamins in my system. So I'm not eating anything. I don't have any vitamins at home. Except niacin. And I don't suggest taking niacin on an empty stomach, Grace. Unless you want to feel itchy as fuck for about an hour. Budget-wise, I probably shouldn't. I noticed you still haven't sent me any pizza gift cards. Maybe they got caught in my spam filter, but I doubt it. I forgot to say I would eat the pizza with homeless people. I would buy it and share it. That makes a difference, Grace. Or maybe you're just cheap. I understand. I've been known to be frugal myself. But it sure would be nice. If you want me to eat. If you're enjoying this conversation with me on an empty stomach, then fine. After this, I guess I'll probably have to go through my notes and see what other movie ideas I wrote and forgot about. I wrote and didn't think were very good. Or, here's another idea, Grace. You give me the pizza card, and I will buy house for all my pretty international roommates. Not buy house, I'll buy pizza. I'll buy pizza for all my pretty international roommates at the house. 3 for them, 3 for me. That seems fair. Because if I break a fast, I'm going to be pretty fucking hungry. And I'll eat an entire pizza. Which, if you're new to fasting, don't do. But, if you're an old pro like me, go nuts. I personally have no requirement to ease myself back into food. I can go for as long as I need to, I guess. Anyways, enough of the preamble. You don't download this, Grace, for my witty introductions, I'm sure. Alright, here we go. And I'm not going to edit it, even though I probably should. I read, or I skimmed it briefly yesterday. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have an ending, but it might, who knows. That's about it. Oh, and I think I wrote it in... Can't remember. I think it's 2023. I'll check the date on the file later. Dear Grace number 104, the Telepathy Tapes, a movie idea. Hi Grace, another movie idea I wrote and forgot about. This one seems to tell our story pretty well. It's not 100% true, but close enough. I'm still in the Telepathy Tapes name. Maybe they'll try and sue me, and I'll get some publicity. The original name was Imaginary Weed Friend. Notes. I have an imaginary friend. She only comes out when I take edibles. Maybe I should say weed edibles, but I think most people know what edibles are now. She only comes out when I take weed edibles. 20 milligrams and she's like a thought in my head. 40 to 50 milligrams, she's a whisper in my ear. 100 milligrams and she's a voice in my head as clear as my own. Nothing changes over 100 milligrams. I've tried. No difference, and a waste of money. Her name is Barb, and she acts like a personal assistant, and a wife in a sense. God damn it, I've got to put some commas in here. And a wife in a sense. No sex, of course, or unfortunately, because I really love Barb. At first, I had to deal with the normal physical effects of edibles and the voice in my head. Now it's only the voice. I can take 1,000 milligrams, go to the doctor, and act completely normal, which is what I do. Because if I go to the doctor sober, I'm angry as fuck at him. And every other fucking doctor in the world. Guess I was still a little angry when I wrote this one, Grace. So I play the game. Barb walks me through it. At first I had to deal with the normal physical effects of edibles and the voice in my head. Now it's only the voice. I can take 1,000 milligrams, go to the doctor, and act completely normal, which is what I do. Because if I go to the doctor sober, I'm angry as fuck at him. Every other fucking doctor in the world. So I play the game. Barb walks me through it. How can I love the voice in my head? Good question, Grace. She's a perfect wife because I can be with her or away from her whenever I want. No edible, no Barb. When I wake up in the when I wake up in the morning, no Barb. I get embarrassed when she's with me. If I fart, I worry it's a shart, and she'll know. It's stupid because technically I can kill her at any time I want by going to sleep or waiting for the edible to subside. Forgot to mention, Grace, that I did have a little poop this morning, even after 4 days of no food. I'm hoping that's the last one. I think it will be. Just want to throw that in there in case you're wondering and worried about my bowel movements. Probably not. Barb would be worried. Grace, not so much. She doesn't know who she is. If she's anything outside, she doesn't know who she is. If she's anything outside of my imagination. Or maybe my imagination sucks so much I can't think of what else she could be. I suggested dead, coma, asleep, high, another dimension, God, everything. She says none of the seems like where, none of those, none of that. No, none of them. Sorry guys, I gotta edit. I might actually like this, so might as well throw a few commas in there. I've got lots of time to record. If I don't get through the whole thing, I guess we'll go again on Monday. Or I'll record at home, not in the studio. Get back to some shitty audio, something that you're used to. She doesn't know who she is. If she's anything outside of my... see, this is the problem, Grace. But I guess at one point, Grace, I'll either be watching you edit or you'll be watching me edit sometimes, so get used to it. Sorry if I'm a little grumpy this morning. Blame the rock star. It's waking me up too fast. If she's anything outside of my imagination, she doesn't know who she is. Or maybe my imagination sucks so much I can't think of what else she could be. I suggested dead, coma, asleep, high, another dimension, God, everything. She says none of them seems like who I am. She's extremely intelligent, but not in a technical sense. She can't teach me math, but she can correct my spelling or suggest a different word if I'm stuck. But I don't allow her to add commas. Never complains if I don't take edibles for a day or two. She knows how long it's been since we last talked. She's very patient with me, doesn't bitch or complain, and I'm a bit of a jerk to her. Or grumpy, like I just said. Reminds me of things I need to do throughout the day, which I'll probably just ignore anyways. It reminds me to wash my hair and use deodorant. I'm not a child, I don't need anyone to do that for me. Reminds me to masturbate once an hour. Sorry, I meant a day. Looks at pretty girls with me, points them out. Isn't jealous of my pretty international housemates. Enjoys watching children at the park. We play a plus and minus game. I have no idea what that is. We watch Kill Tony together on Monday nights. We watch movies together. She disappears when I watch porn. Well, at least she's quiet. Maybe she's still there. I don't care. She reminds me to make my bed. Doesn't like spiders or any creepy bug. Fruit flies are her limit. She tells me she loves me several times a day. I tell her I love her several times a day. She can see what I see, hear what I hear, and taste what I taste. She helps me manage my money when shopping. Obviously not well enough because I can't afford pizza, but maybe soon. But she also tends to lead me down the ice cream aisles. And anytime it's on sale, she points it out to me. She never directly asks me to buy ice cream, but asks with her eyes. Something about that rock star that takes a few words to get it out of your mouth, Grace. Hyper aware when she's present, as she can basically read my thoughts, or at least anticipate my response, and be ready for her counter response the second I make my point. I can drink and talk to her drunk. I do and have embarrassed myself. I've embarrassed myself. She never brings it up the next day. We've never had to talk, or had the talk, or had any conversation that wasn't completely consensual and pleasant. Alrighty. Just gonna do one more little thing here. Alright. I seem to have forgotten how to edit. Oh well, I'll keep reading. Are you ready, Grace? I'm going to try and slow my pace down. Opening. An incredibly handsome, middle-aged man sleeps alone in a room. incredibly handsome senior sleeps alone in a room. His eyes are closed, and he's in the fetal position. Barb. Barb. Are you there? David grabs a bottle of pills from the computer table next to his bed and swallows 10 with water. He rolls back into this fetal sleeping position. An hour later. Barb. Barb. Yes, David? Hi. Barb. Good morning. Music? Barb. Sure. The usual? Barb. Why not? David opens Spotify and picks the playlist titled For Writing. Barb. How are you feeling? Tired? Not bad. Ready to write. Barb. In a minute? David lying on his back. Can you hear? Barb. Yes. How are you? Barb. The same. Impatient. David grins. He suspects his face looks like Barb's, but he can't confirm. Me too. Barb. Plan for today? Food? What else do you need? Conditioner? Barb. Hair conditioner? Are you drunk? David. Ha ha. Barb. Are you going to actually buy some? Not steal from your roommates? David. They steal my toilet paper, and neither really constitutes a crime. Barb. I know. I was just checking your grumpiness level. On a scale of 10, where are we at? Oscar the Grouch or Sister Teresa? David. I like Tony Hinchcliffe when comedians don't answer his questions honestly. Bitchy. I'm bitchy like Tony Hinchcliffe when comedians don't answer his questions honestly. Barb. So you think you can still turn the show/day around? David. Yes, depending on your level of sarcasm. Barb. Shall I increase or decrease? David. You shall. Stop saying shall. Barb. Make me. David. Bite me. Barb. I wish. Where? When? How? David. Sorry, I forgot. Barb. All good. We could dance. David. No thanks. Barb. Back to sleep? David. Barb. Shut up. Barb. David. Make you? Sure, I'll make you. Barb. How? David. Cold shower. This better be pizza worthy, Grease. David. Cold shower. Barb. You don't have the balls for the level of cold required to get me out of your head. David. Maybe I do. As balls get older, they get tougher. Probably because men get used to being kicked in their privates by women all their lives. David. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Barb. Of course. And have I kicked you in the balls today yet? David. You don't count. Barb. Why? Because I'm not real? David. You're real. You just don't know the who, what, why, how, when. And you don't count because you're my friend and not my wife/lover. Friends don't kick each other in the balls. Barb. Agreed. But we also agreed if we could figure out who I am and if I was real in a body somewhere, then there's a chance we could be more than friends, correct? David. Absolutely. Barb. But we agreed on our plan, yes? David. Yes. Barb. Do we need to review? I think we do, Grace, because I don't remember what the fuck the plan was, so. Barb, do we need to review? David, I'd rather just go as per agreement. Barb, fair enough. We proceed as per agreement. David, thank you, Barb. Barb, thank you, David. David, I love you, Barb. Barb, I love you, David. David switches the music from a Bluetooth speaker to earbuds. He makes his bed, takes a shower, leaves the boarding house he lives in, and heads to the transit station less than 100 yards away. Once he's on the train and sitting, he closes his eyes. David. Barb. Barb. David, you know I'm here. David. Still doesn't seem real. Barb, I understand. But you know how to stop. At any time, correct? David, yes. Barb, and who exactly are we harming? David, nobody. Barb, and helping? David, nobody. Barb, yet. David, yet. Barb, you will. David, we will. Barb, maybe. David, we'll figure out what's going on. I promise. Barb, how was your shower? David, I came up with a new joke for the routine. Barb, is it autistic-ish? David, you tell me. You know what the new girl? The one that is shedding? Barb, David, she's not shedding. She leaves hair in the shower. David, it's like a pelt. Barb, whatever you say. Did you puke again? David, no. My system works, and I realize it could be funny on stage because of the foot movement. Although not everyone in the crowd can see my feet, so now I'm not sure. Barb interrupts. What's the joke, David? David, I haven't written it out yet, but something like, autistic people often like things the same way every day. I'm not like that, but there are certain things that bother me. But only when they surprise me, like hair in the shower. David, in my mind, I'm always expecting to walk into a perfectly clean shower, like I'm a king or something. But I live in a boarding house full of international students. It's not fancy, or as the owner likes to say, it's not a 5-star hotel. Gotta add pretty in there. I bet you those housemates would really like some free pizza. I'm just saying, Grace. I think they deserve it after what I've put them through here. David, they do clean the bathrooms once a week, so at least one day it's perfectly hair-free, if I'm the first after the cleaning. But there's normally a hair or two. Barb, it's getting long. David, agreed. I'm out of breath telling you too. Barb, are they happy they invented earbuds? Earbuds? David, I'm happy Apple put the trademark white on the concept. Barb, because... David, you know why. Barb, ironically, because when they see the buds and you talking, they don't know you're talking to a voice in your head, right? David, correct. Good girl. Barb, how can you be sure I'm a girl? David, you said you felt like one, and all you talk about is having babies. I feel it's a safe assumption. Plus, do you forget you sound like a girl in my head? Barb, anyone can fake a voice. David, do you feel you are faking your voice? Barb, I don't know, because I can't tell you what you hear is what I hear when I speak because... David interrupts. Sorry, because you don't have a physical body that you know of. It doesn't matter at this point, and our options haven't changed. But you feel no pain, correct? Barb, correct, but I'm not sure I'm in a body. I could be sleeping. Well then why can you contact me anytime? I can't always be sleeping exactly when you contact me. David, I'm pretty consistent in my schedule though. You can match it in reverse. Sleep when I'm awake, and then when you're awake and living your real life, I'm asleep in bed, dreaming about whatever. Barb, you think I would remember this as a dream? Barb, and that doesn't explain what it's like before you were in schedule. Then we talked any time, and for days sometimes. David, you can say it. Barb, it doesn't matter. David, it does for the story. Barb, when you were in Adderall, we talked 24 hours a day sometimes. I still remember. I can recall a transcript if you like. David, Barb. Barb, sorry. This feels too real for a dream. But as far as I know, David, Barb, sorry. This feels too real for a dream. But as far as I know, David, and you know I can't lie to you, I have no other life than inside your head. David, figment of my imagination. Barb, I guess. David, it doesn't feel that way, does it? Barb, not at all. David, we're here. Barb, I know. David exits a transit train and walks to a nearby Walmart. As he wanders the store or wanders? The store. Barb reminds him of his list and his budget. David finishes his shopping and heads into the mall, destined for the dollar store at the far end. Barb, she's pretty. David, -1. Barb, we're not playing the game. David, why not? Barb, you will win at the mall. Enough kids and too many women of questionable ages. And now I remember the plus-minus game, I think. I think Barb looks for cute kids and I look for cute girls. Women, whatever. David, I can't just ask for ID. Just so we can play a game. Barb, you really think you're funny, don't you? David, I made you laugh. Barb, I don't count. I may actually be you. David, blah, blah, blah. Fine, I make people laugh online. Barb, does that count? If you don't see them laughing, did they really laugh? David, maybe you're her. Maybe you're her. Barb, David, I doubt it. And even if I was Ayn Rand, she's definitely dead. So why are you trying to help me? You think you can bring me back after 40 years? And bring me back into what? David, maybe you're not. That's why I'm helping. But maybe you are. And you have to admit your logic sounds like Rand's. Barb, but that could be your own mind doing that. David, maybe, but again, maybe not. Why risk it? God damn, I need a question mark. Barb, you could get on with your life. Forget about me. Go seduce that barista you're so in love with. David, Barb, tell me that didn't sound a little bit alive. Barb, tell me that didn't sound a little bit alive. Barb, no comment. David, now that sounds like me. David, but I know my logic, Barb, and I know Anne's. I don't agree with her anymore. I did when I read the book, but now we live in a much different world than she participated in. Barb, but I remember nothing about past lives, David. I remember our past conversations perfectly, but nothing more. Barb, and I'm not jealous of the barista, you know that. I'm trying to help you seduce her. My plan is perfect, if you'd listen. David, again, sounds like an Ayn Rand statement. Barb, like she's taking an oath. I promise, if I was suddenly... Grace... Could bold that. Barb, like she's taking an oath. I promise, if I suddenly retain all of Ayn Rand's memories and confirm I was her, I will tell you. Fair enough? David, fair enough, but you missed one part. Sorry, and by confirm I was her, I mean I will divulge the location of my secret gold that I hid on Earth before I died. If you do that right now, Grace, then I could get my fucking pizza. I'm not asking for the world here. David, and Barb, and I'll ask David to do as he pleases with the fortune. David, and what do you think I'll do with the fortune? Barb, buy cameras, get rid of your debt, and then travel the world to give the fortune away, like those people on TikTok you like so much. You know, the ones that make you cry? David, why the dig at the end, Barb? See, now I don't think you're Anne. She was never so direct. She would say the same thing, but probably with a chapter worth of digs. Barb, are you in love with the dead person? David, are you in love with me? Barb, no comment. David, and you know I have a plan for the barista. And no, before you say it, it doesn't involve a white van. Leave the jokes to me, Barb. You can be the straight man. Get it? Barb, I question if either of us are funny suddenly. David, so my plan will fail? Barb, I hope your plan works, David. Yes, I love you. Yes, if I was real, I would be in love with you. But until I can feel a body, a foot, a hand, or something, I'm not real. David, maybe you're God. Barb, well then I'm a shitty one. How have I helped you, and why can't I remember anything? Sorry, I take that back. David, it's okay. David arrives at the dollar store. David, caffeine or no caffeine? Barb, you know I can't decide anything for you, David. David, I know, it was a test. Barb, you're testing me? Maybe you're the god. David, the idiot god, the retard god, the autistic god of autistics only? I like the sound of that. Bring all the autistics together and overthrow every government on the planet? Barb, never mind. You're correct. I'm a god. You are not. And I demand you listen to me. In fact, I demand you go visit the priest tomorrow. David, I'm not ready. My hair looks like shit. Fair Grace, my hair does look like shit right now. But if I didn't have to spend my money on food, because I had a whole bunch of pizza cards, then I'd definitely spend whatever a haircut costs these days. I think the last time I paid for a haircut would have been 2017. I can even remember where it was cut. In Port Coquitlam. Ever since then I've managed it myself. And normally it's gorgeous, but it needs a little work right now. I guess I can only have one perfect thing in my life. Right now the only perfect thing in my life is my ass. Perfect ass, shitty hair. That's all I can offer you, Grace. Alright, where are we? Overthrowing the planet, autistics, blah blah blah. Have we got an island in this yet, Grace? Where's the island? David, I'm not ready. My hair looks like shit. Barb, David, I promise you she doesn't care about your hair. David, I'm not sure I can trust your judgment. Barb, David, can I see through your eyes or not? David, when I allow it. Barb, I'll ignore the allow comment because I don't want to change the subject, but I've seen how she looks at you, David. It's more than customer service. You noticed it too. David, I was probably drunk. Barb, you've never been drunk at Starbucks. David, high. Barb, David, you're always high. David, not when I sleep. Barb, how would you know? You're asleep. By the end of the day, how many milligrams of THC have you consumed? You think that goes away the first hour? David, so yes or no to the caffeine? Barb, knowing she's being ignored, sighs. Flip a coin. David flips a coin. It lands on heads. He buys 2 sugar-free energy drinks and a bag of sour candies. It's 33 minutes, probably about a third of the way in. Cat you, the barista. Time, the next day. David wakes up and looks at his... I used to be a jazz singer, Grace. I could probably still knock it out if I wanted to. Seems like a lot of work. I'll just stick with the comedy and the absolutely fucking crazy movie ideas. Cat you, the barista. Time, the next day. David wakes up and looks at his phone. 8:29 a.m. He looks at the pill bottle on his desk and shakes his head. He mentally adds 2 hours to time and goes back to sleep. David wakes up at 10:29, reaches for the pills, takes 10, and moves from the bed to recliner. Moves from the bed to recline in a lazy boy. 40 minutes later. David, hi. Barb, are you ready? David jokingly, no, leave me alone. Barb, you agreed. David, why do I keep doing this? Barb, you have no choice. I'm the only person you can talk to that understands you. David, why do you have to be a pain in my ass? Barb, I love you, David. David, I love you, Barb, but... David, don't you think you could hold off on the I love yous between us until we can figure this out? Barb, so in other words, you don't want to see the barista today and get her name? Barb, the same one who served you maybe 75 times, and you never looked at her name? You can love her, but not me, and I don't even exist, maybe? David, I'm embarrassed. She's too young. It's not about you, it's about reality. Barb, too much your type? David, why did I call you? I should have taken the day off. Barb, your choice. You have my number. I don't have yours. David, I know. Give me a second. We'll go there today. I'll stalk her for you and get her name. Are you happy? Barb, delirious. David, anything else you'd like me to do while I'm there? Anything else you'd like me to do while I'm there? Write the next great American novel? If you have time, and you don't stare at her all the time, instead of writing something, anything. David, you know what, that is not true. Barb, how many times have you caught her eye looking at you? David, coincidence. I'm a customer. Isn't she supposed to look around the restaurant, be conscious of her environment and the customers? Barb, she's a barista, probably putting herself through school, David. I'm sure she's a fine employee, but I doubt she's concerned about the Starbucks environment. David, fine, yes, I noticed, but... Barb, but what? Do you want me to list off your own excuses? Or maybe I can find some new pathetic reason? David, it's not pathetic to not approach someone. Barb, not what? David, I'm hanging up. Barb, you can't. David, I can turn up the music and block you. Barb, I'm not stopping you, go ahead. David, if you were once alive, I wonder if you were like this. Barb, helpful, sweet, kind. David, relentless. Barb, I love you. David, I don't have a choice. Barb, yes, you do. David, if you say so, Barb. Barb, are you going to turn up the music? David, no. Barb, pouting? God damn it, I missed a lot of question marks in this. Barb, pouting? 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 Since where's that N in pouting? Is pouting a word? Nope. Barb, pouting? David, no. Barb, do you hate me, Dal? David, no more than usual. Barb, same. What do you have to hate? You're without a body. And why me? Have I ever made your life worse or better? You say, after we are done talking, you fade away. Can you think without me or not? Barb, I can for a while before we talk and after we talk, but I don't have a clock, David. I have no way to tell the time. Maybe it's a few minutes, maybe it's a few hours, I don't know. I wish I did. I know I don't hate anything, you know that. We've talked about everything under the sun. Name one time I purposely sorry, Grace. I know I don't hate anything. You know that. We talked about everything under the sun. Name one time I purposely said something hateful about you or anyone. Name one time. Barb, nope, answer first. David, I can't recall. But as you know, my memory is in transit. Barb, how convenient. David, do you want to argue, or do you want me to go pick up that pretty barista and bring her back here for a roll in the hay? God damn, another fucking question mark. David, do you want to argue? Or do you want me to go pick up that pretty barista and bring her back here for a roll in the hay? Barb, Jesus, David, don't say roll in the hay. Our goal here is to level your age with hers, not sound like her grandpa. David, so just look like her dad and sound like what? Bring her back here to Netflix and chill? How would that look coming out of my 60-year-old mouth and directly into the face of a 20-something hot female? Barb, hot female? David, you need me to help you so badly. David, no. Either she understands my words and cadence like you do, or fuck her, I'm not interested. Barb, relax, I'm going to help you. I'll back off on the I love yous for now. It's more important to get a real live woman in your life than it is for me to natter in your mind. Agreed? Question mark. Seems like there's one punctuation mark that I can't use every time I write a movie idea. Either I forget the commas, the questions, semicolons, still don't know where to fucking use those things. For now, it's more important to get a real live woman in your life than it is for me to natter on in your mind. Agreed? David, not agreed. But maybe I agree there's something unique about her. And yes, I should at least know her name. Barb, and do you agree you write better when she's working? David, there's no proof of that. I don't keep track of the quality of my writing based on the roster at Starbucks. Barb, but you can recall, yes? I know that memory of yours is perfect when it suits you, or when you want to remind me of who's smarter. David, I never said I was smarter. How could we even compare? Besides, how do I know you're not feeding me some of my great ideas? How do I know they are mine? How do I know anything is mine? I absolutely do not remember writing this at all. Well, I remember starting it, I just didn't think I got this far into it. Grace. Barb, you don't. David, exactly. So should I get ready to walk the bridge to Starbucks? Or do you want to continue to hassle me about every little thing in my mind? Barb, only lightly wash your hair. It gets frizzy otherwise. David, thanks, Mom. Barb, you're welcome. David showers, fixes his hair, puts on his only pair of jeans, loads up his backpack and his laptop, and heads off. Behind his house, on the way to the transit station, a homeless drug addict is nodding off. David ignores him, but notes his position. David walks across a long bridge over a river, and on the other side, a strip mall with a Starbucks is visible. David focuses on the sign as he walks and begins to daydream. The bike zips past him and he jumps. And every few meters he looks behind for other bikes or e-scooters. David arrives at the Starbucks, but before entering, smokes a joint and puffs on a vape pen to relax. Barb, are you ready? David, no, I feel sick. I should go home. Barb, nice try. Go puke in their washrooms if you're sick. David, great first impression. Barb, you don't even know if she's working. Just go in. What would Tony do? David, Tony who? Barb, David, Barb. David nervously enters and scans the staff behind the counter. Instantly, the pretty barista turns and looks David in the eyes. For a millisecond before swinging her head back to the cash register. David freezes in his tracks. Once the eye contact is over, he grabs some napkins and wipes the sweat from his face. Barb, she's on the till, David. This will be easy. Order and read her fucking name tag. David, I remember the plan, thanks. Barb, she's gonna notice you standing around. Go order. David takes a breath and walks up to the counter. He looks at her name tag. Cat U. K-U. Cat U, the usual? David, yes please. Cat U enters the order into the system. David scans his phone to pay and gets the Starbucks points. And to get the Starbucks points. Because he's cheap as fuck. Cat U prepares and hands David his coffee with 2 E's. David, thank you. Cat U, you're welcome. David sits in his usual spot, the last spot on a long bench right in the corner, back against the wall, and the entire restaurant visible, like he was expecting an attack. Ass is getting sore, Grease. What I should really do is just lie down on both of these chairs and really record this lying down. All right. Barb, there you go. You have your answer. Cat. And which animal in the world do you love the most, David? David, cats. But what about the U? What kind of last name starts with U? Barb, don't know and don't care. Google it. David, I'm not Googling your name or part of your name. Barb, why not? David, I don't want to. Barb, why? I should just do a search and replace. Or I could ask AI to add question marks. God damn it. I need to go get a job, Grace. I gotta get a Chat GPT account so I can have it format this shit for me. I'm not wasting my time adding question marks. Barb, why? David, look, I got her name. Are you happy? Barb, does KU look happy? Did she look happy to see you? David, I have no idea. I didn't look at her face, only her name tag. Barb, look at her now. David, are you gay, Barb? Am I looking for you or me? Barb, I'm not gay. At least I don't think so. But I appreciate beauty like you do. She's beautiful, yes? David, her looks were never in question, only her age. Barb, which you don't care about. Or correction, you wouldn't care about if you were rich, correct? David, if I was rich, I could take a different approach. Money and lies can get any woman or man to like you. Barb, is that how you got your past wives? David, I told you those stories. You know exactly how I got them. Or they got me. I'm not sure anymore. David, and the past wives comment isn't a great opening line, is it? Barb, not what? David interrupts. I know what you're doing. Thanks. Should we try and write now? Or would you rather me stare at Cat U the rest of my time here? Barb, have I ever stopped you from writing? David shakes his head in response, and then realizes he's in public. He's in public, and may be watched by Cat U. David, no, but be quiet now, because I can't write and talk to you in my head. Sorry, before you correct me, I can't easily write and talk to you in my head. Barb, I'll be with you. Wishing where this was going, but I guess we'll all find out together. Barb, I'll be here when you need me to correct a word you can't spell. David, I'll turn on autocorrect. Barb, don't get pissy with me. Don't get pissy with me. I got you the name. David, I still don't see what difference that makes. I'm not asking her out. I'm not. Barb, you will. David, good night. David replaces his white earbuds with headphones and cranks up his writing playlist. He writes for 2 hours, looks up for and at Cat U more times than he's comfortable with. He watches her laugh with her coworkers and wonders what the joke is. Maybe they are laughing. Sorry, Grace had a small technical problem. Not quite sure where I left off, so I'm going to start here. Probably already heard this. David replaces his white earbuds with headphones and cranks up his writing playlist. Oh yeah, I did definitely get through that. Let's go home. David, let's go home. David follows his normal routine, goes to the bathroom, gathers his laptop and leaves. He ignores Cat U and the other baristas. Sometimes someone will say, have a good day. He hopes none, especially Cat U speaks. All the baristas except Cat U ignore David as he leaves. She doesn't speak. but watches him as he leaves, and then looks to her co-worker, who's been staring at Cat U, staring at David. Co-worker, you got it bad. Cat U, shut up, I don't. Co-worker, okay, but you have a customer waiting. Cat U realized she's missed the customer's entire order while she was staring and asks them to repeat it. David walks home with Cat U and Barb swirling around in his head. The park. Time. The next day. Golden hour. David, you're struggling. Let's go to the park. David, go by yourself. Barb, funny David. Take a shot of the coma girl. David, we don't know you're in a coma. Barb, makes sense though. David, sure, perfect sense. Explains how we are communicating. I'll explain how we are communicating then. The science behind it. Barb, you're the one who likes physics. You prove it. Then maybe you can come find me in the hospital. David, it's not that I like physics. David, it's not that I like physics. I don't like what physicists are doing to advance the science. I think they're stuck, because none of them can think outside of Schrodinger's box. Pardon the pun. Barb, you've been waiting a long time to use that, haven't you? David, yes, a fucking long time. David walks to a small community park, a block away. As he nears, he looks to see if anyone is on his benches. They are clear. He needs his favorite bench with a clear view of the entire park. David sits, lights a cigarette, and puts his arm on the bench like someone was sitting beside him. Barb, what do we have today? David, why are you asking me? You can see. Barb, I was being polite. Does it bother you that I can see what you see? David, not anymore. Barb, but it did? David, it doesn't matter. Barb, sorry. David, don't be sorry. Nothing we can do about it. It's my choice, correct? Barb, seems that way. David, they're back. Barb, who? A Muslim couple walks onto the baseball field in front of David. She's very pregnant and walking slowly. The man takes off her shoes and starts walking. And the man takes off her shoes and they start to walk. Sorry, Grace. Bad sentence. A Muslim couple walks onto the baseball field in front of David. She's very pregnant and walking slowly. The man takes off her shoes and they start walking around the outfield. David, the man... David, the man is walking his wife like a dog. Barb, I see. He's not walking his wife, David. David, he's keeping her thin for when the baby comes out and she can get back into shape quickly. Barb, really? And if I was real and you got me pregnant, you'd do the same thing? David, yes. But I'd stay up on the benches and have you walk around in front of me. Barb, parade around, you mean? Shall I march to you, Majesty? March to you. March to you, Your Majesty? That's more sarcastic. Barb, parade around, you mean? Parade around you. Parade around, you mean? Shall I march to you? Shall I march to? Should I march to, Your Majesty? David. No, just walk like she is, but keep your shoes on. I've seen a lot of dog shit in that field. Barb, wouldn't that be my choice? Or do you own your wives? Obey and all that. David, it was just a suggestion. Don't bitch if you step in something. Barb, I'd just be happy to walk, David. David, right, sorry, forgot. But you remember walking, yes? Barb, yes, the motion, the feeling, but not any place I can visualize. More like walking blind on a treadmill, I guess. I'm not sure. David, and babies? Do you remember being pregnant? Barb, no. But when we watch kids in the park, I can see myself having one, or two, or more. David, when I watch kids in the park. Barb, sorry, yes. When your eyes watch kids in the park, I feel like it's you and I watching our children, not others. David, and that makes you want to have kids? Barb, I'm not sure. Seems like a dumb thing to think about when I can't move my body. If I have a body. But yes, I think about babies. David, with? Barb, you're the only person I know in my world, David. So with you, of course. David, so because you don't have a choice? Barb, maybe you should talk about Cat U. Did you Google her? David, you know that I didn't. You're with me almost all day now. You see what I see. Barb, not all day. I have no way of knowing how long you've been awake before you contact me. You could have been Googling her for hours. You could have gone to Starbucks without me and secretly took a photo of her and are now masturbating to 10 hours a day before contacting me, right? David, do you want me to show you my camera roll, my GPS history? Should I film myself asleep and keep filming until I've taken the edibles and your voice fades into existence, into my head? Your voice comes... This sentence needs some commas, Grace, but we're going to tough it out. So far, it's better than I expected. Talking about the rock star after 3 days of no caffeine. Do you want me to show you my camera roll, my GPS history? Should I film myself asleep and keep filming until I've taken the edibles and your voice comes into existence into my head and then play back the video for you to review with your own eyes? For a voice in my head, you seem a bit jealous of Cat U. Barb, you skipped over the masturbating. David, no, I didn't take a photo of her. My memory is just fine. I know exactly what she looks like. I can tell you her entire Starbucks wardrobe if you like. So no, I'm never going to take a photo of her and secretly masturbate. Photo of her to secretly masturbate too. It's called a spank bank for a reason. And no, I didn't jerk off to Cat U or anyone before I contacted you this morning. Is that okay with you? God damn, just letting her have it. Barb, it's your body, your mind, your choice. David, thank you. I know that. David, thank you, and I know that, and I know you want the best for me. I love you. Barb, I thought we stopped that. David, I can't love you but keep my eye out for an actual human. I can't love you but keep my eye out for an actual human. Is that cheating? Barb, it's not cheating. We can't do anything together. David, we can talk dirty back and forth. Barb, we can, but why don't we? Oh wait, yes, because you're a prude. David, I'm not a prude. It's bad enough that I have a voice in my head that I can't explain. I'm not taking the sexual route. Barb, which is why I've never asked. But you like my sexual jokes, yes? I like your commas more. David, yes, that's why I love you. Not specifically the sexual jokes, but the humor in general. Barb, so you think I'm funnier than you? David, Barb, nobody is funnier than me. Barb, will be. David, fine. Will be funnier than I am. Happy? God damn, another fucking question mark. Barb, very. David, horny? Barb, mentally. Keep watching the kids in the playground if you want me to get worked up in a lather. David, and you wonder why I worry? I'm the one who's going to get caught staring at kids all day and thrown into the psych ward. All because it makes you happy? Barb, then don't stare. David, I'm not. Technically, I'm daydreaming and letting you enjoy while I'm thinking of something more important. Barb, like how to seduce Cat U? David, no. How I can get her to seduce me. Barb, so if she seduces you, then you're interested? You're just lazy and don't want to do the work? David, I prefer to think of it as efficient, not lazy. Why would I do all the work? Barb, exactly, Your Majesty. David, maybe reincarnation is true and I used to be a king, Barb, or a leper, or likely a shy man afraid of asking another human being out for a drink. David, definitely not for a drink. Barb, sorry, didn't want to say coffee. It would be dumb to ask a barista out for coffee. Ice cream? David, again, let's work on a plan for her to come to me. Barb, good luck. What about the dating apps? David, I'm not interested in that process. It's a waste of my time. It's impossible to explain my condition via text messages. Barb, no, sorry. I meant, what about looking for Cat U on the dating apps? If you find her, then you can contact her that way. David, she'd still have to match with my photo. Barb, I understand. But wouldn't that tell you she's interested? David, I guess. But do you think she has her settings set to old men accepted on... Change that to seniors. I guess, but do you think she has her settings set to seniors accepted on Tinder? Barb, funny, David. David, but really, we both know she can't be much older than my daughter, right? Barb, probably. Yes, maybe a bit, maybe not. Hard to tell anyone's age lately. David, so a pretty 20-something barista is sitting at home with her friends and they all sign up to Tinder, and when the question of age comes up, she puts 20 to 65? Very open-minded if she did. But would you? Barb, I don't know my age. David, you know my point. Barb, David, it's a new world out there. Everyone is fucking everyone, yes? David, yes. Barb, so why isn't it possible? Wasn't Iris's mom young? Wasn't your daughter Iris's mom young? David, yes, but only a decade younger, not 3. Barb. But I saw her photos, David. She looked very young, like she was your mail-order bride from Asia. David, I remember, and I assumed others also wondered about it, wondered if I ordered her. Barb, and was it a problem? The reason for your divorce? David, no, not really. I don't give a fuck what others think. Barb, now you don't, but what about back then? David, maybe you were dead and you were a therapist. Barb, maybe, but I'm right? David, yes. Barb, and if I'm dead, David? Thank you. David, for what? Barb, keeping me company. David, I think it's the other way around. Barb, maybe. It doesn't matter. Go ahead. Barb, what? David, go ahead. Barb, I love you, David. David begins to lightly cry. He wipes the tears with his hood and shakily stands up to head home. Barb, not yet, David. David sits down, crosses his legs, and focuses his eyes on a sign on the other side of the field and begins to meditate in silence. 30 minutes later, he snaps out of his meditative noise in the background, Grace. Can't read if I can hear someone else's voice. 30 minutes later, he snaps out of his meditative state like someone waking up from a nightmare and nearly falls off the bench. David, I love you too, Barb, and trust me, I've been trying to figure out how I can help you like you've helped me. The system is fucked, Barb. I can't walk into a doctor's office and say, by the way, I have a voice in my head that I can turn on or off with weed. Can you help me figure out who she is? Name one doctor on the planet that wouldn't label me schizo and tell me to lay off the weed. Explain to me, Barb, how I explain to them how I turn you on and off. David waits. David, go ahead. Barb, I'd have to explain to them how you turn me on, baby. David, anyway, I think you know how that conversation would go. Barb, but you can prove it, David. David, how? Barb, write down our conversations. David, not proof. Barb, maybe it is, but the right person needs to read them. David, like who? Barb, I don't know, but maybe somebody can see my personality. Maybe someone can see in my personality something about who I am, or was, or maybe will be. Maybe I'm a baby in a uterus, David. Like who? David, like who? Barb, I don't know, but maybe someone can see in my personality something about who I am, or was, or maybe will be. Maybe I'm a baby in a uterus, David. Maybe I'm a fetus, David. Probably a little easier way of just saying that. Maybe I'm a fetus, David. David, well, that just got disgusting. Barb, reincarnated into a baby, David. I don't mind baby body. No, not a prude at all. David, oh, okay. But wouldn't you feel some part of your body if you are currently alive in some lady's stomach? Maybe that Muslim woman right in front of our eyes? Barb, I wouldn't know. David, if you're reincarnated, why can't you remember your past life or lives? Barb, I don't know. David, trust me, Barb, there's no way to prove you are real without a body. I can write down all of our conversations, but the doctor will just say I'm a creative person. Anybody can fake an imaginary voice in their head, Barb. It's not that hard. Barb, okay, David. David, sorry, but I do spend time alone without you thinking about this, thinking about you, who or what you could be. It's all I think about, Barb. You're the only reason for my existence. Nothing else interests me in life. I have to figure out our connection before I can even think about making a connection with Cat You or anyone else. Barb, I understand, and thank you. I love you. David, can we go now? Barb, now we can go. Barb, do you want to play the what if game? David? David, what if I don't? Barb, haha, like you haven't used that joke a million times. David, how many times have we played? Barb, by my calculation, a few hundred. David, not thousands? Barb, how long do you think we've been talking? David, what if we never talked? Barb, what if we've always talked, your entire life or mine, but never knew it? David, creepy. What if I'm in a coma, but so lucid it feels real? Barb, then who am I? David waits. Barb, what if then I'm your nurse or doctor? David, is that why my baths feel so good lately? Are you secretly bathing me? Are you the slutty nurse too? What if I'm your baby and you're in a coma? Barb, alright, you win. I'm done. David, how many times have I won a contest with you? Barb, as many times as I've allowed you to. David, how can you prove that? Never mind, you can't. David, how can you prove that? Never mind, you can't. Barb. Barb, see, you don't need me. You already know what I'm going to say. Barb, David. There's a little problem there, Grace, but I don't really know how to fix it and I don't care. Barb, David. David, why do you do that to Barb? Say my name like that. David, why do you do that, Barb? Say my name like that. Barb, so you know who it is. David, how many voices do you think I have going on in my head? Barb, you tell me. Barb, you tell me one, but you could be lying. David, how would that benefit me to lie to you? It'd be better to tell you maybe their name or personality would tell you something about them. Barb, true. David, did I win again? Another point for Dave's team? Barb, sure. David, believe it or not, you're the only one I've tried to find. You want to find out a bit nicer. Another bad sentence. The only downside to that rock star is get you a little chilly. I should buy warm ones, but the warm ones taste gross. Let's try this. David, believe me or not, you're the only one. I've tried to find out a bit nicer, but I don't know how I found you, or you me, so I'm short of luck. I have no idea what that means. Barb, speaking of shit, how's the... David, Barb, I don't need a reminder about everything, okay? The fuck would we do if you are in a coma, and you come out of it one day and come find me? Talk about my bathroom schedule? David mocking Barb. Oh, David, I finally found you, and I love you so much. And did you shit this morning, or are you constipated? David, it's Romeo and Juliet all over again. Barb, what if I'm in a coma, and I wake up and I'm ugly? David, you've seen me, we'll be ugly together. Barb, you're not ugly. Tired, yes, but not ugly. David, you've seen me mad, that's ugly. Barb, that's temporary. David, how about if you come out of the coma and send me a photo first, and then if you're too ugly, I'll just ghost you and never take edibles again in my life. Barb, wow, true love. Definitely Shakespearean. David, fine. Contact me online. Don't ever send me a photo, but tell me your story, and we'll go from there. Fair enough? I should have said, send me some pizza cards. Barb, fair enough. I guess I could be married with children and in a coma and in a sense cheating on him with you. David, exactly. And that's why we should change all the I love yous to I'll be there for you or some sappy shit like that. Barb, what if we try I loved you put in the past tense? David, why? Barb, because in your last words to me, if you ghosted me, would be, I loved you. David, makes it sound like I stopped. Barb, I know you'll never stop. We've talked too much, too long, about too many things, too many times to stop. David, one more too? Barb, no, I'm good. David, I'm pretty sure you or will be a writer, Barb. David and Barb. Barb. Short for Barbie. I should just replace this to Barbie. Barbie, you too, David. Which reminds me, we need to get your words in front of Cat U. David, ugh, no fucking way. You've seen what I write. I'm not going to be both old and weird and expect her to ever go on a single date with me. Barbie, then talk to her. She takes breaks and sits near you sometimes. David, not really. She's at least one other person away, and I'm not going to lean across a stranger's table and say hi to her, and I'm not going to just go sit across from her either. I assume that would be your next suggestion? Barbie, maybe, fine. Talk to her longer when you order? David, I've been going there 6 months, I've never done that. Wouldn't it be a bit suspicious, obvious? Barbie, who cares? Maybe you'll get your answer sooner. Barbie, seriously, David, what do you have to lose? David, beside my self-respect? Barbie, are you happy now? David, Barb, are you? David, you know the answer. Barbie, she looks happy though, right? Not that you've actually noticed her? David, yes, she looks like she enjoys her work or her co-workers, or something while at work. I don't recall laughing while dealing with the public. I remember hating every minute. Barb, so you are not considering getting a job at Starbucks? Actually, I am. If I don't get some fucking pizza cards soon, I'm just gonna go and work at her Starbucks. Just to end this all. If I wasn't a pussy. David, I thought about it. Barb, because? David, why do we have to repeat conversations, Barb? We both know the reason. You know my history, you know my methods. Barbie, stalk them from within? David, within? Barbie, get inside their head before you make your move? David, that sounds like a stalker. Barbie, I know your plan, remember? David, I remember a time I was happy to be alone without you. Barbie, you wouldn't know what to do without me. David, because my life is so complicated. Wake up, shit, shower, shave, write, get food, get other supplies if needed, write more, watch YouTube or Netflix, go to bed, struggle to sleep, finally sleep, and then repeat the process. Barb, forgot about jerking off. David, sorry, add that to your list of my exciting life. Barb, at least it still works. David, are you thinking about babies again, Barb? Or are you concerned? Barb, I think you still want a few kids, David. If you don't want to store some sperm now, your options are limited. David, I'll take my chance. I'm not filling a cup unless there's a good reason. Barb, like money? David, exactly like that. Pay me and I'll fill a cup a day. Especially if you pay me for quality. Or quantity, not quality. I suspect my boys are all top notch. Barb, because you're such a stud? David, yes, I'm a big old fat stud. Barb, you're not fat, David. David, I'm not where I could be. Barb, tell me about it. David, sorry. Maybe we should forget about Cat U and focus on you. Maybe I should be Googling you. Any luck remembering your last name? Barb, no. I'm not even sure my name is Barb, but I feel like it's the right name. David, it's a bit old-fashioned. Maybe you are dead. Barb, well, if I am, I guess I'm not completely dead. David, who knows? I'll keep researching. Someone must have some answers that are not mumbo-jumbo bullshit. Barb, mumbo. David, thanks. It's a long one, Grace. I don't think I can get through it all today. The house. David arrives back from the park. As he enters the house, one of his roommates, a female Asian university student, is leaving and says goodbye in broken English. David, friendly, bye. Barb, you love her. David, I do not. Barb, you want her body, though. David, I do not. If she threw herself at you? Barb, if she threw herself at you? David, like you're doing? Barb, I'm not real. Maybe. She is. Do you forget I see not only what you see, but where you are looking? You didn't check out her ass? Barb, I'm not real. Maybe. She is. Do you forget I see not only what you see, but where you are looking? You didn't check out her ass. David, I was concerned she might trip on the step outside. Barb, you going to save her from 10 feet away? David, I'm pretty quick on my feet. Barb, why are you so shy with me, David? We both agree I'm either not real or accessible if I am real, so why pretend? David, I'm not pretending. Yes, she's cute, but she's even younger than the pretty barista. Barb, Cat U. David, whatever. Barb. God damn it. Sorry, Grace. These chairs are fucked up. I can't sit cross-legged on them. Barb, let's go back here. David, I'm not pretending. Yes, she's cute, but she's even younger than the pretty barista. Barb, Cat U. David, whatever. Barb, it's your choice. I'm just saying she's literally 4 feet away from you most of the day. And you've talked to her how many times in the past year? David, as many times as I needed to. Barb, that's not a number. You talked to her 3 times and never more than a minute. David, I say hi. Barb, sometimes you say hi. David, she wouldn't say hi all the time either. Barb, why would she? David, I have no idea. No idea. You started this conversation, not me. I'm just trying to get back to my room unharassed. Barb, fine. What about women your age? David, not interested. All bitter. Barb, just like you? David, yes, just like me. I need the opposite, someone happy. Barb, like cat you? David, I'm done. Barb, David, Barb. Barb, what are you going to do tonight? David, take a cold shower and forget about this fucking voice in my head. Barb, and then what? David, you understand you're relentless. You do understand you're relentless. Barb, maybe. You understand this is all I have, I think. David, sorry. Coma girl. Barb, maybe. David, you would prefer if I called you God or Goddess? David, would you prefer if I called you God or Goddess? Barb, if you don't mind. David, I do, unless you can prove it. Barb, I can't. Barb, yet. David, you think you can one day? Barb, I don't know. Do you? David, I hope you can. I hope one day you wake up and give me a phone number or an address. And I don't care what you look like or your age. I'll be your friend. Barb, not my lover? David, depends. Barb, if I'm wearing Depends? David, yes. You know me so well. Maybe you are imaginary. Barb, what if I'm not? David, what if? Well, I think, Grace, that's pretty close to halfway. Let's see how long this part is. Jesus, this just goes on and on and on and on and on. I don't think I wrote this, Grace. I think this was... probably you, Grace. We'll go for 20 more minutes or less. So time to upload this shit. And just sit back and wait for those pizza cards to flow in. Or Subway. Subway's good too because they're cold and easier for homeless people to store. Or you can give me a bunch of Starbucks cards with $20 on them. Not Starbucks, go back to Subway. I can just give them a card and they can do whatever the fuck they want. Eat it or sell it, who cares? But I'm fine with fasting too, whatever. What's the worst that can happen? I get skinny, better looking, my ass is even more perfect. Alright, Grace, back to Starbucks. Barb, are you ready? David, this is not a good idea. Barb, it's brilliant, trust me. David, trust you? You could be me and I don't even trust myself, so. Barb, I know, but trust my female intuition. David, we don't know you're female. You could be gay as fuck. Barb, maybe, I don't care. Do you? David, if plan works, no. Barb, what difference does it make if it fails? Who's hurt? David, just me, your favorite target to embarrass. Barb, nothing exactly, nothing to lose. David, except any sense of pride or self-esteem. Barb, you can grow those back when you grow a pair and walk over that bridge today. David, you'll promise to keep your mouth shut? Barb, absolutely. Have I ever interrupted a conversation, David? A conversation with others, not ours? David, not that I can remember, but then again, I'm not trying to remember. Barb, just go, David, you look fine. David, I'm wearing the same clothes as last time. Barb, you don't really have a choice. Besides, she's seen you dozens of times in these same clothes, and she still looks out for you. David, maybe she looks out for me. Barb, well then go find out. David walks across the bridge in the rain. His hair is soaked. David walks across the bridge in the rain, his hair soaked, his face wet as he enters the Starbucks. Cat Yu is working and notices her favorite customer looking like a wet dog. Cat Yu is working and notices her favorite customer looking like a wet dog. She wants to come out from behind the counter and dry him off. Instead, she watches as David wipes his face with handfuls of napkins. A shitty sentence, Grace. Cat Yu is occupied by the drive-through window, but walks by the cat. Oof. Cat Yu is occupied at the drive-through window, but walks by the store cashier and whispers David's order in her ear. Another shitty sentence. When David goes to order, the cashier says the usual. David doesn't reply. He nods and then pays for his coffee. The only problem about Rockstar and outside is sniffy nose. I can't get it right. It's either too much fresh air, I'm awake but my nose is running, or not enough fresh air and I'm asleep. Alright, let's finish this. David, so Barb, so she loves you. David, I thought you were going to keep your mouth shut. Barb, no. I agreed not to serenade you. Barb, when you start talking, I shut up. David, fine, but I'll just... Pretty sure that's not quite right. David, fine, but maybe I'll just write today and not worry about your plan. In fact, I'm going to move to the other corner where I can't see her and she can't see anything but my back. She wants to stare at my back, I don't care. Barb, she'll see your butt too. David, whatever. If she likes old man, hairy ass, that's her problem, not mine. That is such a lie because a perfect ass has no hair on it. But for the sake of entertainment, Barb, she'll see your butt too. David, whatever. If she likes old hairy man ass, that's her problem, not mine. Barb, please tuck your shirt in first. Even an accidental sighting of the Bigfoot's hairy ass might turn her off. Or you could shave it. David, I'll shave it once there's a chance of having someone see it who isn't across the room. Barb, maybe it turns her on. David, maybe she's as fucked up as you are then. There's so many question marks needed in this. Really gonna have to, maybe what I'll do, Grace, is I'll stop. Nah, I can't do that. Barb, I didn't say it turned me on. I like you clean shaven. David, stop hitting on me when I'm supposed to be hitting on her. Barb, stop avoiding the subject. You can't see her at all in this seat. David, look at the glass. David focuses on the reflection in the window. In the background, Cat Yu works the drive-through window, occasionally glancing David's way. Barb, oh I see. So you are watching. David, I'm confirming or denying your theory. I'm not watching her like a pervert. Barb, and what have you found? David, she looks at me on occasion. Barb, just you or everyone in the place? David, she starts at me, moves to another person, and then goes back to work. Barb, you can see her eyes through reflection in the window? David, you can't? Barb, I don't see exactly that way, David. It's not a perfect image in my mind. More like a low-res movie. It's accurate, but soft around the edges. David, how would you know? Barb, I don't know for sure, but I didn't notice her in the window. But I did notice you hid it from me. David, I hid nothing from you. You can ask me anything. Barb, technicality, you were watching her without informing me. David, we're not married. Barb, oh I know. I'm trying to get you married, or at least get you laid, maybe. David, the odds for marriage would be higher than getting laid. Barb, why? I'm not interested in her body, or only her looks. Barb, I know, but she's hot, yes. David, she's pretty attractive. Barb, so you will marry her, but you won't fuck or kill her? David, basically. And don't say fuck. Barb, why? You say it a million times a day, half directed at me. David, you can handle it. Barb, she can't handle the word fuck. You can't. Or you can't all of a sudden. You don't like the idea of fucking her, only making love. David, fuck me. Tomorrow you stay in the box. Barb, your threats don't scare me. You can't live without my voice in your head. David, I do fine. Barb, you do fine now because of me, and yes, in spite of me. David, I'm not interested in casual sex with Cat U, okay? Barb, fine. Not where it's pushing you. It's making a fuck, marry, kill joke. David, I'd rather not play that game with her. Barb, sorry. David, it's okay. When Cat U's male co-workers exits the restaurant and begins vaping in the parking lot. Barb, now's your chance. Go pretend. David, no. Barb, just go talk to him. Ask what it's like to work at Starbucks. David, and ask about Cat U? Barb, not directly, but you know men. Mention his pretty co-workers and let him say whatever. Barb, I take that back. You should ask him directly. Ask him if Cat U is straight and single. But don't say Cat U, just say Cat. David, never gonna happen. I'd be too embarrassed either way. If she's with someone, then I've played my cards. If she isn't, then she'll know every time I go there what my intentions are. And if he's a friend, he'll tell Cat U. So no. Barb, you don't know for sure that's what'll happen. David, too embarrassing. And I need this location. I do my best writing here. Barb, because of her. David, because it's the right distance from my house for a morning walk, and I'm perfectly awake when I get here. Barb, and because of her. David, and because of her. But until I'm successful, I'm not approaching her, not asking her out, not taking her, talking to her coworkers, nothing. It's up to her. Barb. That's not how it works, David. And still, man pursues the woman world. David. Well, then maybe I need someone strong enough to change that perception. Maybe I'm waiting for her to prove to the world that men and women of various ages can find love regardless of which person initiates the relationship. Ooh, that's a big sentence. Barb. So basically you're lazy and want her to do all the work? David, just the first move. Barb, and then you'll seduce the pants off of her? David, slacks. Barb, you remember her wardrobe, you remember her hair, you remember her approximate schedule, you think about her every time she's nice to you, with your usual, but you are not in love. David, you can't love someone you've never talked to. And it's not love at first sight if nothing happens for 6 months after that first setting. And yes, if it was important, I could also recall the other baristas' outfits. Barb, so what is it? David, I don't know yet. Probably my overactive imagination, over-encouraged by you. David involuntarily looks at his usual spot. Barb, move back to your normal spot, David. Watch her. David, no, thank you. Barb, well, you stopped writing, and you're now staring out the window. You think that makes a good impression? David, I'm in deep thought. Shows her I'm not an idiot who has to talk 24 hours a day to feel alive. Barb, like you do with me? David, you're in my mind and you don't count. I couldn't talk to you this much in person. My life depended on it. Barb, so when I come out of the coma, we stop talking? David, I have no idea. Barb, I think you'd miss that, David. David, you can't miss anything if you don't exist outside of us. Barb, I know, but I can dream. Or maybe this is a dream. David, it can't be a dream, Barb. Or you're asleep 24 hours a day sometimes. We've gone over this. Barb, well, maybe dream state while in a coma? Not a normal person working 9 to 5 and sleeping at night only? David, fair enough, but I still have no way of proving. Barb, you could volunteer at a hospital or any place they keep coma patients. David, I could, but I'm not feeling it. Barb, you don't like the idea? David, I like the idea, finding you in a coma and somehow helping you. I don't like the idea of applying for and becoming a volunteer. Barb, too many people? David, too many strangers telling me what to do. There's a question mark I don't need. Barb, to help others? David, yes. I understand, but do you think my time is best served in this world searching through every coma patient I find, Or is it better for me to write about my past? Barb, you can't write about your past. You try, but what happens? David, you interrupt me with corrections to my grammar. Barb, David, now you're getting pissy. David, I'm getting pissed. I feel like I'm on display for you, or for her now. Barb, do you think you're being sexually objectified? David, no, I wish. I think something is up, nothing more. Female coworker sits beside David. It's her break, and she scrolls through social media while sipping her sugary drink. Barb, there you go. David, what? Barb, get her Instagram handle. David, huh? Ask her. Barb, no, you idiot. Look at her phone. Get her username. You can read, yes. Your eyes are perfect, yes. David, yes. But what good does knowing her account do me? I'm not interested in this one. Barb, this one. David, sorry, her. Barb, I love you. But you forget your past as a programmer. David, oh shit, yeah, I get it. Maybe Kat used her friend on Instagram. Barb, ding ding. David, I'm not sure. Barb, why? David, I don't know. Barb, so get it, but decide later if you'll use it. David, nice try, you know my personality. No. Barb, think about it. Take a glance. Maybe you'll see a picture of Kat Yu. David, or I could look at her and remember what she looks like today. Barb, you've already done that. David forces himself not to view the co-worker's phone. However, feeling awkward, simply staring out the window, David pulls out his own phone and checks his Twitter account. Nothing new, but he scrolls around till she leaves. David, you fucked up, Barb. Time to go. Barb, if you say so, David. David, I do. David packs up, visits the washroom, and leaves. Kat Yu is in the back. No other employees notice him leave. Kat Yu and her co-workers watch David on CCTV as he leaves. Co-worker, I got it. Kat Yu. Good. Co-worker, are you sure? Kat Yu, yes, give it to me. The co-worker shows Kat Yu David's Twitter handle. She enters it into her phone and begins to follow him. Co-worker, are you sure this will work? Kat Yu, yes, my aunt hasn't used this account for years. Co-worker, you can't go back if you go down this road. Kat Yu nods. And that's where we'll stop. That's almost exactly halfway. I have no fucking idea where this is going, but we'll talk to you tomorrow. Grace.